Hello, and welcome to Lunar Magic Tea Time, where we discuss all things magical, mystical, metaphysical, and sometimes a little mundane. I'm Kristen, and today is Thursday, June 18th, 2020, which makes it Tarot Thursday. And today, our Tarot Thursday might be a little long because, if you recall, earlier in the week, I did a video where I did an unboxing of the Darkwood Tarot by Sasha Graham and Abigail Larson. And when I was done with that video, I did my interview with a deck spread. I do this for every single deck I purchase. I do this for every single deck that is gifted to me. Any new deck, Oracle, Tarot, whatever, that comes into my work gets this interview. The interview itself depends on the deck, but it starts with the same basic 3 questions and then builds from there. And we'll get to those questions in just a minute. I want to talk a little bit about why you want to know who your deck is. And I want to address a little bit why I anthropomorphize decks. I anthropomorphize decks because I work with them constantly. They are my coworkers. Just as our co-host on the podcast, Nancy, is my coworker, these decks are the same. They have knowledge that they're bringing to the table and sharing with me in a way that makes it easier for other people to access that information. And every deck has its own personality. They have their own quirks and idiosyncrasies. In this case, because there's 2 people who worked on this deck to bring it to life, both of those people brought something to the deck. They brought a bit of their personalities to this deck. Not all personalities are going to match with all people. I have a couple of decks that I'm ready to rehome because they just don't communicate with me in a way that I'm comfortable with or in a way that makes sense to me. We just don't connect. You want to know if you're going to connect with a deck first and foremost. If you're me or someone like me who is a professional reader who is reading for other people, you're going to want to know what types of people each deck is going to connect with. I have decks that are great because they're so gentle and they're so calm and they're so almost neutral, maybe is a good word, that they're perfect for situations where you're reading for someone who is very new to paganism, the esoteric, or the occult. Right? Somebody who may be a little timid. I have done a number of tarot parties where guests at the party have been like, this is really interesting, but I don't know if I believe. And I want, every time that happens, I pull out one of the gentle decks that just is very, it's okay, we're just here hanging out. I wouldn't use the Guardian Tarot, for instance, in that situation, because while that deck is absolutely amazing, it is unnerving but I would absolutely use that deck, the Guardian Tarot, for someone who is looking to delve much deeper into their occult life. Excuse me. So anyway, on to my interview with the Darkwood Tarot. I start off with 3 questions, like I said. My 3 basic questions are, what card best represents you as a deck? Which card best represents the lessons you're here to teach me? And which card best represents our partnership? because working with the tarot is absolutely a partnership. And then, like I said, I build from there. Sometimes I don't really understand one of the answers, or sometimes one of the answers leads to deeper, not darker, but deeper questions. It just depends. And I always finish my deck interview with the question, is there anything else you would like to tell me? I had one deck, it was one of the cat decks. I have like 6 cat decks, and one of the cat decks responded with an answer that was effectively, feed me, which is the most cat thing I've ever seen in my life. So I did. I actually gave that deck an offering of food, cat food, and we've had a great relationship ever since. Things like that. Sure, sometimes pagan life gets a little weird. We don't judge here. So the first question I asked this deck, as I said, is what card best represents you as a deck? And this deck decided to tell me that it is the World. But I drew it in reverse, which kind of gives us a Hangman vibe if we look at it. Now, the World is the last of the major arcana, which kind of gives the impression of completion. We've kind of gone through our archetypes, we've kind of gone through our journey, and now we have all of this wonderful wisdom. In reverse, it can mean we're going back to the beginning, or it can mean we're going back to our roots. It can mean we have been sitting on the sidelines and now it's time to bust out of our game. I opted to pause on trying to translate that. Now, in this book, she does this fantastic thing, and I absolutely love it, and I wish more books did it. Number one is the book is just gorgeous, but the World is the archetype of integration. We're going to want to remember that word, integration, as we go through this video. And our little blurb, because each card has this little red blurb, that little blurb is, you are the universe. Okay. All right. I don't really understand, in the moment that I drew it, I didn't really understand the reverse aspect. So let's move on to what card best represents the lessons you can teach me. Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of flippin' fortune. Okay, so I need to remember one, cyclical time. Things come, things go, things renew, cyclical time. The Wheel of Fortune is an archetype of fate, fortune, and destiny. I have stuff cooking right now. I have things going on that I'm trying to build. Are these things my destiny? Is this what we're teaching me? Let's put a pin in that for a minute, shall we? The little red blurb for Wheel of Fortune is, the symphony of life is a perpetual wheel of motion. And its overall meaning is basically go with the rhythm. Remember, life has rhythms. We're going to have ups, we're going to have downs. We're going to have moments of pure clarity and moments of pure confusion. It's all going to be cyclical. It's all going to evolve. It's all going to change. And sometimes our best bet is to roll with that change. And I need to remember to better roll with the change. I need to remember to better adapt, but also I need to remember to accept help. Not just from friends and family. I've been getting a little better about that, but I need to accept help from the universe itself. And ironically, a friend and I have been talking about listening to messages before you receive them, and how sometimes our guts and our souls know what's coming before it comes. And I think that this card is definitely talking about that. Accepting the help, trusting your gut, knowing that the universe, the world, right? This has you covered for this. The world has you covered for life's ups and downs. The universe has you covered for life's ups and downs. So which card best represents our partnership? And I know that this video is going to be a little longer, and I apologize. It is going to be something that you will be seeing more of as we go through some of these things. Some videos will be right around the 10-15 minute mark. Others will be considerably longer. And I just hope that you stick around for the whole journey, because that's kind of what we're meant to do. Not necessarily here, but you know. Anyway, what card represents our partnership? Now, this one threw me for a loop. I'm not going to lie. And I'm going to give us a minute with this card, because I want you to notice. Sorry about the glare, guys. Okay, there's a woman in a boat. That little blue bundle is a baby. There's a woman on the shore reaching out, kind of desperate. What is happening? What is this about? What is going on? Well, our red word, our red key in this moment is journey. And the book mentions that we don't know. Right now, when we look at this card, we see the situation from the outside. We're neither one of the people. We're not the woman on the shore. We're not the woman in the boat. We're not the baby. And we have to make assumptions about this journey. And one of the things that is mentioned is this a rescue? Is the woman in the boat rescuing this infant? We don't know. But we do need to be aware we don't know those answers. The boat represents emotional things. It represents connection and connectivity. So in terms of what our partnership is, this deck and I have to be willing to do a couple of things. I need to be willing to let the boat take from me, or let the deck take from me. I need to let the deck hurt me even a little bit. If we assume I'm the woman on the shore for a moment, I have to let the deck take those things. I have to let the deck hurt me a little bit so that I can come through whatever I need to come through. If I'm the woman in the boat, I have to be willing to make hard decisions and potentially hurt others, potentially hurt this deck. This deck isn't going to be kind, and I need to be able to sass back a little bit. And then I asked, okay, great. What else you got? And I got a really interesting, this one threw me a little bit. All of these threw me. You hear me talking and I'm like, I don't know. It'll come together in a minute. I got the 9 of, what is that? The 9 of Pentacles. So this deck wants me to know, first and foremost, that as I work with it, I will be rewarded. The 9 of Pentacles to me has always been about reaping what you've sown in the past, getting reward for all of the things that you've done, and being really, really aware of the balance that the universe brings us in that way. The red meaning, the little red blurb, again, is secret garden. And I didn't necessarily like that. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but it is about self-care. It's about connection to our ancestors through self-care. And it's about fierce loyalty. So I think that this deck is going to be maybe better for working with my ancestors. I've been doing that a lot more lately. My not my biological ancestors, but my cultural heritage, and my adopted heritage. I am adopted, and genetically I am pretty pure Celt. So I'm reconnecting with my Celtic roots through that. Fortunately, my adoptive family is all Irish and Scottish too. So, and then this card came flying out. Now, I am a huge believer in if a card falls out of the deck, that card has to tell you something. It needs to talk to you, and it needs to talk to you today. It wants to speak to your manager right now. And it was the Eight of Wands. But it was the Eight of Wands in reverse. Okay? So the Eight of Wands is Mermaid's Dream. And I love this because part of what I do is very ocean-based work. It is very, very ocean-based work. The shadow side of this card, so the reverse side of this card is, are you waiting? What's holding you back? What are you so scared of that you're not leaping forward and doing the thing? Wow. Okay, ready? Here's where it comes together. So remember, I had asked these questions and drawn these cards in this order, the order that I showed them to you. We have the World, and in this situation, in this reverse situation, the World is kind of a hangman. I'm kind of waiting for something. I'm waiting. Something's, what am I waiting for? What am I waiting for? What fear is holding her back? This deck is going to help me determine what fears are holding me back from achieving all of my dreams. And it's going to do so in a way that leaves me sometimes a little hurt, sometimes a little confused by the cycle. But at the end of the day, it's going to reward me for all of that work. I am going to reap what I've sown if I dedicate to this deck. So that's a basic overview of how to do a interview. Let me know if you want me to do more spread type videos. Let me know if you would like me to do some more educational type videos. I really enjoy sitting and chatting with you guys, even though it feels very, I know it must feel very one way, but in my head, remember, you can find us on Facebook at Lunar Magic Tea Time. You can find us on the web at lunarmagicteatime.com. You can email us at lunar@lunarmagicteatime.com. Our podcast is up on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Podbean, as well as the website. You can like, subscribe, and hit the little bell button if you so choose. Soon there will be more. I've got candles in the works. You can find those on Instagram, and you'll have to search Lunar Magic Tea Time. And I think that's it. And I want you guys to go forth and have a blessed weekend.